Romans, countrymen, lend me thy ear. To be or not to be, that is the question. By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. Two houses both alike in dignity. Oh, for a muse of fire. If music be the food of love, play on. And the raging rocks and shivering shocks shall break the locks of prison gates, and Thibis car shall make and mar, and shall shine from afar. Today, I'm going to share with you some aspects of arguably the most published and best playwright in the English language today. From when he was born in the late 1500s to this day today. And I'm going to speak about many different aspects. I will begin with a quote from Miguel Powers, who is a professor of English here at Fullerton College, and he says that Shakespeare will give you a lens into your own world and the world around you. And that is right. I will teach you today how to like Shakespeare, number one. Number two, how to love Shakespeare. And number three, how to live Shakespeare. And you're my volunteer. Perfect. So what does he offer? What does Shakespeare offer? Shakespeare offers everything that we see in modern television and film today. If you've seen Mad Men, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, True Blood, Hunger Games, House of Cards, you'll find many of those elements in one or more of his plays. In no particular order, this is what you get in Shakespeare. Blood, guts, rage, racism, love, romance, fun, stupidity, ridiculousness, singing, dancing, laughing, punking, adultery, trickery, war, and oh yeah, sex. Lots of it. In the most G-rated form. That's right. Shakespeare gives you G-rated sex. Now, first thing we have to do is address the elephant in the room, right? The elephant in the room is his language and accessibility. Most people are terrified by his language. However, what I will show you today by these 3 points is that you get an opportunity to get exposed to the language, and suddenly it becomes the least problem of Shakespeare. Shakespeare will do it in many other ways for you, okay? With Shakespeare, you can get children, adults, grandparents, even dogs will listen to good Shakespeare. Guaranteed, I've seen it happen. I took my dog to an outdoor Shakespeare festival, and we saw Alice in Wonderland. He went to sleep. King Lear came on, and there was a fight. He barked. He wanted to be involved. I didn't train him. Dogs know Shakespeare. Kid you not. There are 3 basic types of Shakespeare's plays: histories, tragedies, and romance. History, tragedy, and comedy. And we'll go those 3 of them. And there's 3 ways to enjoy the plays. And I will go those 3. First thing I would suggest, if you've done no Shakespeare, seen none at all, watch a DVD. And I would say that is the best way. Netflix, Hulu, or rent a DVD. And start with something light like a comedy. I think Midsummer Night's Dream in 1999 was done with Christian Bale before he became Batman. Excellent show. It's got Michelle Pfeiffer. It has Calista Flockhart, Stanley Tucci. It's really enjoyable. Another comedy is called Shakespeare in Love, which won an Academy Award and is enjoyable to introduce you to what's going on with Shakespeare. Now, the next area I would look at are history. And the play that I've looked at most recently is Henry V with Laurence Olivier's version and Kenneth Branagh. And it talks in detail about the history of England, but it also gives it in a historical context. And moving on from that, tragedy. Look at tragedies. I would say look at Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet, or something more modern would be Leonardo DiCaprio in the same film. Look at Othello or Macbeth with Patrick Stewart. And also, I think the one I want to look at, which is probably the most controversial of his plays, is Laurence Olivier, Mel Gibson, Kenneth Branagh all played Hamlet. And I'll quote Kenneth Branagh on Hamlet. This is him about the film. There was a healthy, casual quality to some of the dialogue. It meant that not everybody was playing every moment as art. Branagh also appreciated the chance to go from the very intimate to the very epic in a few scenes. And I think you get the great mix of all the murder and sex and suicide, madness, ghosts, and all those great page-turning elements with great emotional punch, which comes from seeing Shakespeare being so deft with the structure. He'll lead you to big, intense set pieces. He'll change the atmosphere. He'll uncover the humor. And then he adds, people had sex 400 years ago. That's why we're here. So he proves it again. Now, from going from Shakespeare in love to being in love with Shakespeare, the next best way, I think, is to see Shakespeare perform live. And you saw it just a little bit earlier today. How can you see it live? Shakespeare, I've divided into 3 sections again: regional, national, and international. Regional, this is the time of year around May and June where Shakespeare comes to you. So it will come to Orange County Shakespeare. It will go to the Griffith Park Festival in Los Angeles. It will be Shakespeare in the Vines in Temecula, which I looked up for you, which you can go and see. It also has Shakespeare by the Sea, which travels to 20 different locations. So you will live within 5 miles of these. You can go, and most outdoor Shakespeare, what's great about it? Macklemore loves it because it's under $20. It's free. It's free. And no music cue for this. It's free. Okay? You can see it free. Now, to move on, as you become more experienced and excited, you can see it at the regional level and the national level. I would go to Oregon Shakespeare, Utah, Lake Tahoe, and I think arguably the best in the United States is Central Park, which will have Comedy of Errors this year, and that is it's Shakespeare in the Park, and it is free. And you will see some of the best actors on Broadway do that free. Moving from that, I would say international. If you've just got a big scholarship and you want to go somewhere, I think Canada, Stratford Festival is excellent, and then finally London. And in London, you can see Hamlet, which Jude Law will be playing, and you can see Othello. And I have a nice quote from The Economist talking about Othello. Yeah, you're going to London. That's fine. Let me take you all the way in. So these are some areas where you can see it. Now, the final way for Shakespeare, I think, we've learned to like it, we've learned to love it a little more, and now, if you really want, is to live it. So this is where you will see Shakespeare. This also moves up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you've gone from love and belonging, which was 3 because you love Shakespeare, now you're going to self-actualize and have some esteem from performing Shakespeare. So you pick up a script, and then you read it and you share it. So what we're going to do then is everyone's going to stand up and you're going to do your first piece of Shakespeare today. Come on, stand up, everyone. I've got 3 minutes. Everyone is going to do a couple lines of Shakespeare. Follow me and just repeat after me. In this interlude, it doth befall, that I once snout by name, present a wall. You have just done Shakespeare. You have now I love it, all right? That is all it takes. So in summary, we have spoken about the 3 different types of plays: the comedies, the tragedies, and the histories. 3 different methods: film, live theater, live performance. So I'm going to leave you with this passage that captures the underlying form of Shakespeare. It is the final speech from A Midsummer Night's Dream, which I will be directing next week, and I'll give you details afterward. So I'd like you all to close your eyes and relax. Really relax, just like the DJ's playing a slow beat. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, while these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding, but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest puck, we have learned unearned luck. Now to escape the serpent's tongue, who makes amends are long. Else the puck a liar call. So good night until you all. Give me your hands, if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
You have an outline?
I haven't packed it up, so I need to redo it for you.
All right.
Yes, I got too many notes.
Deidre, what did you think?
Well,
You had a very good intro. It was very dramatic and very powerful. Your thesis was clear. How much you love Shakespeare's passion shows you're very passionate, so that was clear too. I liked how you used how Shakespeare is similar to like the modern examples you use, like the TV shows and movies that are out now. So I liked that. You're very comical. You're a great speaker, of course. When you were talking about your transitions, it seemed like you would get a little sidetracked sometimes. But other than that, you bounce back. So You offered solutions on how to enjoy and experience Shakespeare by giving locations, which was good too. Your quotations from Shakespeare were powerful. I mean, you can't talk about Shakespeare and not quote it, so I think that was awesome. And your audience involvement kept our attention. Overall, it's good.
Forced our attention.
Thank you.
All right, well, I tell you, as a persuasive, there are a couple of things that I still think that it could use a little bit more of. Why Shakespeare over other types of literature? Why Shakespeare, especially for this particular age or time? I agree with Deidre. I do like the comparisons that you make to themes in contemporary stories that the audience would be familiar with. There's nothing wrong with that, and that I think is an important reason why Shakespeare continues to be relevant. I think you needed a little bit more of that. I can see that there's a structure in your head that you're talking about. On your first point, you've got these 3 supporting points. On the second point, you've got these 3 supporting points. On the third point, you've got these 3 supporting points. And I think that you're overdoing the minor structure a little bit, and you draw attention to it more than is necessary, so it sounds a little bit contrived. I mean, when you make the reference to the Maslow hierarchy, for instance, it's the same kind of thing. You're drawing attention to something that should be a part of the speech, but it shouldn't be billboarded like that. The transitions, though, between the main points, I thought were really good. I thought that they were effective, and you did a nice job finishing one point and getting started to the next point. But I'd agree with Deidre that, like when you were doing those other things, you billboard them, and then it just seemed like you just get lost in them, kind of wandering around, presenting random information or examples. The examples are the strong part of the speech. You're enthusiastic about the stories and about the quotes, and I like that. Let's face it, you're relying a huge amount on your ethos to sell the audience these ideas. This is a speech that's working because of your personality, because of your credibility, because of the way you're delivering the speech. That's what's going to get people excited and emotional about this. And I think you do a pretty good job on those kinds of things. Having said that, you're back to the happy feet. You're moving way too much. You are back and forth across the room. And I know that sometimes you're doing it in a character sort of way, but you need to step out of that character way when you're doing the speech part. All right, so I don't mind it when you're doing the characters and the speeches, and you've got the dramatic movement, and you're going through all those things. If the character moves a little bit, that's fine. But I tell you what, when you're doing the rest of the speech, stay still for a second. I got to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of that shaky cam film technique that people have. As far as I'm concerned, buy a tripod and use it. That's what you need to do. You need to kind of say, I need to be in a spot that people can focus on for a little bit while I'm talking about something. So that's the delivery suggestion I have for you. All right, thank you.